Alright guys, in this video I want to go over how you can start meeting women, going on dates, and being intimate with them. I'm going to break down exactly where and how to find women in a way that actually plays to your strengths. So we'll focus on optimizing this through a real life and in-person approach, but I'll also cover dating apps and show you my profile and reasons why it was successful. This is especially good if you want to meet a high volume of women efficiently. So I've done all the strategies here to go from literally zero dating experience and, being scared to face any form of rejection in my late teens to being able to attract many women I find attractive and more than I can handle, which gave me, massive confidence through every aspect of my life. But it's so much so that it actually became one of my biggest distractions. But that'll be a topic for another video. I do guarantee though that this video will give you results if you just put in the work. And the first thing you have to do is start your basic looks maxing. Go to the gym, get a nice haircut, groom your beard. I have a whole guide on this, and this isn't the topic of the video, so you can go watch that after this. But you can do these things alongside your dating journey. I would personally suggest do them on their own for a little bit because you want to make sure you're doing them properly and you don't want to overwhelm yourself at the beginning since you want to get that base built first because dating, for getting a girl or a rotation or even just a casual thing, it takes a lot more time and energy initially, especially if you're somebody with limited experience. The first thing that you can do for your dating experience after you've completed the prerequisites is just be outside of your house more often. It's kind of crazy that I have to say this, but think about where people, where girls are. Where are they? They're not in your house, right? So how do you expect to meet them? They're not going to show up at your front door. So I don't understand how, guys think where can I meet girls when they don't even get outside of their house, right? So the first actionable step is get out of your house and interact with the outside world. An example, I think irrespective of if you're wanting to attract women at this point, you're on your dating journey, is just going to the gym. Instead of, staying at home and doing it without any social interaction, just get a commercial gym membership. That way you're doing kind of 2-in-1. You are working out and working on yourself, but at the same time, you're in a very social environment. The other best place I think that you can do this is if you're in school. It's so much easier to become social and, meet other people, friends, girls you might be into, just by attending your classes and speaking to people in those classes. In fact, I do think that even your time away from school, where you're doing your assignments and you're studying, if you're doing those things in your room instead, why not just get that done at the library or a cafe or just a common area on the campus? Because, that way you're actually surrounded by a lot of people and you're in a social environment. The other thing is, if you're not in school and you're working, go do that in person instead of at home. This simple change will just, force you to be around people more often. It makes socializing feel more natural rather than forced. And, if you struggle with social anxiety, this is one of the best places to just desensitize yourself because you're going there to do something else, right? It's not the main focus. And that'll just help you become comfortable in regular social settings. So literally, you just, have to be a normal person. Okay. I gave you two or three examples of how you can just get out of your house more often, but you can adapt this to your life. If you can find a way to be out of the house and in a social setting, take that opportunity. Okay. This should be the first step instead of you going and reserving your time to go and do a cold approach. Because first of all, a cold approach isn't even necessary with my system. And it has an even lower chance of success if you're focused on what pickup line to use or what opener to start with. Cause then you're just going to get into your head and that's just going to make girls have their guard up, because you're coming in with such an intention and you don't actually have anything interesting to say. Doing that, it's just going to be way less successful compared to something like living like a healthy man and learning to make conversation and naturally just being in a social environment where you have something in common with other people. But the thing is how do you learn to actually do that and make conversation with other people? It's literally just throwing yourself in the fire, right? Make it a goal to talk to more people. Talk to the person that's beside you in your everyday life. even if it isn't a girl. In fact, I kind of think it shouldn't be a girl when you're first starting if you do have social anxiety, because, a lot of people just put girls on pedestals. And if you're starting out with that, it's kind of like you're fighting against like the highest boss in a game, right? So you can start by just talking to anybody that's in your social environment. And not all the conversations are going to lead to anything, but like the nice part is, even if they don't lead to anything, you still developed your talking skills, and you're going to turn yourself into a more social and interesting guy that is well connected, gets along with people of many different areas, and it's somebody that people would actually want to talk to. I'll give you a really quick example of how you can do this, and just to like make friends and just start talking to more people. And that's like at the gym. If you need to ask for a spot, like if you're bench pressing and you want to ask for a spot, it's just such an easy way to make like a lot of like friends. And now when I come into the gym and I have guys to talk to because they've spotted me before, so we have a little bit of like common understanding. It's so much easier for me, just come into the gym. There's a bunch of guys that I know that are kind of my friends. We talk to each other, and it just becomes so much easier to spark a conversation with anyone else in later parts of your day. Literally, actually, this morning, something like that kind of happened to me. I was in line, and it was a long line, so I asked the girl in front of me, who happened to be pretty attractive, how long the wait would be. And since it was a pretty long wait, we just started having a normal conversation. I'm already in a kind of social mood, so it wasn't anything hard to do. So we just started talking about normal stuff like my career goals, because she was in a similar industry as me, and we also started talking about the trips that we would go on, because that's what we were in line for. But also, she was graduating soon, and we were talking about graduation trips and stuff like that. But essentially, what I'm trying to get at is like by developing my social skills through my everyday life, it became so much easier to start talking to girls, wherever I was already going, right? Integrating that as part of my daily routine. On a side note, I do think a really good book to make you a better conversationalist and just make you liked by people and have influence is the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I would definitely start giving that a skim at least and implementing things from that book into your daily life, as part of your your goal to just be more personable. So step number 2, after you've kind of integrated a little bit in your daily life and getting out of your house more often, is to actively go to social events that are in relation to your interests and your identity. You can go into something that you're already good at, or something that you're willing to be good at or wanting to be good at. Um, Examples of this is like I see a lot of guys go into clubs that are related to their studies. So whatever they're already studying, go into a club related to that. What I personally did is I just created my own study group, initially with only a couple people. And then as we met more people through university, we started adding some more. And just, as like an FYI, it's a study group, but you spend a lot of time just socializing, making plans to go out, meeting friends that you are, inviting to study with you, but then also meeting their friends who could be potential girls that you will end up seeing. Um, you know, so it's like, even though you guys are all here for one reason, you can spin it off and start socializing for a different reason. You guys are just all going through a common struggle, so it's much easier to get that and get people together. I even did this when I started transitioning to like working full time. Like at work, I just made a like lunch group that we had, and it was very similar. Like we all work together, but during lunch we all just socialize, and it's so much easier to create a friend group that way. The other thing that I think you can do to start, getting that exposure a little bit more, and this is dependent on your goals a little bit, is to go to nightclubs or social events. But the thing is, what I'd suggest here for social events and how to find good social events is just walking around a college campus. You really don't even have to attend, but if you're a young person, you'll find tons of things that you'd probably want to join. I'll even I'll even go to a college campus, and the first relevant thing I see, I'll put it up. Okay, so it's very easy to find good events that way, or what you can do is just check online for events that are in your area. and semi-related to what you'd want to do. Now, related to your identity, that portion, one way you could think about it is, find events like cultural events or club nights with a theme that's related to your ethnic background or race, because they're very common. It's a very easy way for like people to promote an event if they make it cultural based or race based. And it's really easy to just break the ice at those type of events because a lot of the people are, of similar background to you, and it's very easy to find stuff that's in common. If that doesn't apply to you, you can also just find events or places that are related to things like, I don't know, your music taste or your sports interests. It's just an easy, or whatever you like to dance, it's just an easy way to find like-minded people. So what I'm trying to get at though is that you basically want to be doing interesting stuff. So that way you can meet more people, but also people will want to come into your life. With some of the friends that you make through going to these events or just in your daily life being more social, you have to make sure you're planning things like events, like going out, going to see concerts, going to see a show, taking trips, going on vacation. You have to also go out of your way to ask people. And, if people, like a lot of people will say yes, but a lot of people might say no. And, if people think that the event you want to go to is cringe, who cares? You're better off actually not going with that person anyway. It's good that you got them out and you weeded them out, because at least in this area, it means that their goals don't align with yours, and you can find someone whose goals do align with yours. What's really good is like finding another guy who also wants to develop this part of your life, who also wants to go to events, be outside, meet girls, because all of that gives you the permission to do the thing that might seem uncomfortable. you know, if you know deep down you want to do this thing, but you feel like it's out of your comfort zone, having somebody else that also does it makes you feel like it's something that's okay. If, the guys around you normalize going to events, talking to girls, building social circles, you'll naturally want to start doing it yourself and you won't even have to think about it. An example for me is like I would have never downloaded a dating app or go to a club event, even if I didn't know other people that were doing that, because I thought that people would think I am weird or I'm cringe or like I'm desperate, when in reality it's just something I wanted to do. It's just part of my life that I wanted to explore. And going back to my last point, it's not hard to make friends if you go to these places where you think you'll find like-minded people. I've made some long-lasting friends just by asking for a spot when bench pressing. And in general, the people that you'll meet there are like-minded because they're also trying to improve. And, if they're trying to improve their physical health, there's very likely they're trying to improve their dating life and their social interactions as well. So, you want to find people that are supporting you, but this also might mean you need to cut off the people that are making you feel bad or discourage you from doing the things that you want. Right? A big stigma of why people are scared of talking to others is because they think they'll be seen as weird. And if somebody is discouraging, the behavior that you want, then it's gonna make you feel even weirder, right? So you got to make sure you're finding people that want to actually help you and perhaps do it with you. And that just makes the process way more fun and just way easier and more like a competition at times. Okay, so accomplishing this part of your life, I think it's super important because girls are far more likely to want to be a part of your life when you're already doing things that are fun and socially engaging. Because at that point, they're joining your world rather than you making them theirs. You don't want your world to be the girl, because what are you going to do when she's gone, right? You're going to be very desperate, and that's just not something that's attractive. I'll even get a little biological here, obviously with some simplifications because I don't want to overcomplicate it. But girls are way more attracted to guys who are already surrounded by friends, guys and girls, and social connections, because it signals high status and social proof. And, this is a concept that's rooted in our evolutionary biology and psychology, where women, they're wired to be attracted to socially competent men because it suggests higher value, right? If other girls want to talk to you and other guys want to be friends with you, it means you have something, right? It means you have some sort of edge in front of other people. And historically, that just meant a man with strong social bonds, had more access to resources, protection, and influence over others, which directly translates to survival and success. That's like the evolutionary aspect of it, but we can just adapt that to our life by saying that if you are more social, people will want to be more social with you. And that includes girls that would want to date you. Okay, so doing the fun stuff and going out to events, this leads us to the online part. And me personally, I don't really have a social media presence because I don't really care to, nor do I want to, like share too much personal stuff with people I know. Um, I just like to do things in the moment and live them in the moment. And whenever I'm traveling or going out for a show, but what you can do is the stuff that you should be taking photos anyway for the later part of this video, but you can post the fun stuff that you actually do. And that just makes it easier for girls to know who you are and at the same time start a conversation with you. Because that way you're showing a bit of your personality. Like for me, when I went to a concert, whoever was also interested in that music obviously wanted to start up a conversation, ask how it was going, and that just leads you to knowing more girls and more people in general. Okay. But instead of, building up much of a social media presence, I just opted to go for a dating app instead of using Instagram or something. And you can showcase all this stuff on a dating app as well. Um, the reason I think you should be using a dating app is because it's just such a low hanging fruit to get a higher volume of women. And also, it doesn't take very long to set up because you should have pictures from the events that you go to. And it's also a good way to gauge your attractiveness, especially if you were like me and initially you had a lot of confidence issues with your looks. Um, and this can either work out and you end up getting a lot of matches, which improves your confidence. And that helps you in so many other aspects of your life. But if it doesn't work out, actually, now that I think about it, like that's also a good thing because it gives you the motivation to continue improving yourself. And at the same time, you're still getting exposure to women, at least on some scale. But for the dating app portion, I've used Hinge, and at least in my area, that's probably the best one. So I'll go over my profile and my thought process. That way you can use it for some inspiration. All right, so the next part of this video is going to be a lot more chill. I'm just going to quickly go over my profile. I'll keep it on the side, just to tell you what's worked for me. So first thing is just a nice clean photo. I don't know why people have other people in their photos. Don't play that game where you're trying to put someone that's like a lot more unattractive as your first photo, and that way they scroll. Like just keep it simple, right? If your face looks good enough, they will keep scrolling. And how do you get your face look good enough? You do the prerequisites. Okay, so here's my first prompt. It's I can't go a day without listening to music. Can't even drive until there's music or at least a podcast playing. A little cumbersome. I could have definitely made that a little easier to read. But what's nice about this and like what my intention was here is to show a little bit about who like I am, which is somebody who listens to a lot of music, but then also it leaves for a very like open, like a really like easy question for them to ask me if they do want to start a conversation, right? You're just making it easy for them. That's the thing with prompts is it shouldn't be something that like is a little risky and that would have somebody click off your profile. It should just be something that makes it easy for them to interact with you. Okay, so the next thing I have is just a regular photo. You want to make sure you have other people in your photos so you look like you're actually social. Then the next thing is what my weekends look like. So in reality, like this is just to show my hobby, but also if you have been working out, doesn't hurt at all to throw a physique pic in there. So do it, but not in such a douchebag way. Uh, I think this was a pretty clever way to do that. Next one is just a very open-ended thing. I should have put something else to be honest, but it works. People will reply to it, so I'll leave that. The next one is like just something funny, something kind of humorous to show who you are, like what type of stuff you find funny. That's why I put that there. The next thing, the last prompt, I like to use it personally for a way to filter out certain types of girls and like get your type. Um, I've changed this. It's been something a lot more casual in the past, but just it's very dependent on what you're looking for. Okay, then I put something a little funny, but the main reason I put this is because I know this is a place a lot of girls, like a spa is a place a lot of girls like to go to. Um, so that's why I included that. And then finally, I put a photo of me and my friends at a like pretty nice restaurant that just shows that you have friends and stuff like that. It's nothing too complicated. You just want to make sure you have pretty decent photos. And how do you get those? You go to good social events. You want to make sure that you're um, not doing anything too risky regarding your prompts. Just something that's open ended to make it easy for somebody to ask you a question and kind of show your personality. But the main thing comes from uh, this should just be like something you can keep on the back burner as something that's like a little easy to implement through your life. And like, trust me, I've shown you guys here, like, I live in like a mid-sized city and it works. Like, it's just something really good to have on the side. And it kind of gives you that confidence that you can always go back to this. But I still think developing the real life thing is so important, so much more important than this. Yeah, if you guys like this video, especially if you liked the style that I have right now, I'd definitely appreciate a comment. Let me know if you guys have anything else you'd want me to cover. Other than that, see you in the next video.